Again, I'm Patrick Hussion with WLOS News 13 here in Asheville. And we'll just jump right into it. Governor, you said earlier today that it was the highest mountain that you climbed. Of course, healthcare means everything to millions of North Carolinians. So I want to start with the expansion of Medicaid there. You said you went from getting sued on the matter to signing that bill there on your desk. So tell our viewers more about sort of that journey, the hurdle that you jumped over there, and then also what does healthcare access look like for North Carolinians 10 years from now, just based on your work over the last year plus?
Well, we know that healthcare is key to a healthy economy and to healthy families. And to be able to get Medicaid expansion for North Carolina so that more than 600,000 working people can get health care is going to change people's lives for generations. I think there was a lot of opposition to Medicaid expansion because it was part of Obamacare. And President Trump had tried to get rid of Obamacare for a long time, and our state legislature just would not take that step. But we put together a non-traditional coalition of people who knew it was the right thing to do to be able to talk to their legislators, many of them Republican, in rural counties. And so we got small business owners who knew that healthcare was important to their workforce. We got a lot of rural Republican county commissioners who said, hey, our rural hospitals are in trouble here. They need to get compensated for the care that they're giving people. We had tough on crime Republican sheriffs actually come to Raleigh to say, a lot of people sitting in our jails, we know that they need health care and not handcuffs. And at the end of the day, the legislature said this is the right thing to do for our state. It will make a difference for generations to come. And what we have seen is that rural North Carolina has been helped the most because these are people who are working hard and they had been making too much to qualify for Medicaid, but not enough to qualify for subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. This will help fill that gap. And I think in the future, this will keep, I think, people healthier because I think health, like wealth, is passed on to the next generation. When a family is healthier, that the children and children's children tend to be healthier as well. And I think Medicaid expansion will be, I believe, the working families bill of the decade.
Okay, Governor, North Carolina, of course, adding nearly 700,000 jobs on your watch, making it one of the fastest growing states in the country. The state's unemployment rate, I believe, just over 5%, down to 3.5%. Another big feat there. You talk about the role of clean energy. Now, I know that there are many factors to those jobs increasing. A lot of sectors, manufacturing being a big one there, but clean energy in itself and putting toward $24 billion toward that. What role did that play in sort of giving you the leg up in terms of jobs compared to other states?
Well, first, we know that climate change is real. And unfortunately, North Carolina has seen the impact of that. Hurricane Helene is the deadliest, most devastating storm by far in our state's history. And we know these storms are going to continue to be more ferocious. We have to do something about it. But the good thing is that regardless of what your position on climate change is, clean energy is where the private markets are moving. And North Carolina has done a great job in getting out ahead of it. We've become an epicenter for clean energy. And what that means is more great paying jobs for North Carolinians. We are, I believe, going to be able to supply all of the components needed for electric vehicles, all the way from batteries to charging stations, creating good jobs all along. And that puts money in the pockets of everyday people's families. But at the same time, we know that we need to be a leader in the country and in the world to show that it's time to reduce our carbon emissions. that we must work to keep our environment clean, and we must provide cheaper power for people, and clean energy can help us do that. And we're excited about the future because of the jobs and because of the fight against climate change as well.
Right, and more on what Governor-elect Josh Stein might be facing as we head into a new administration in 2025 with regards to those efforts there. But I do want to move on. $730 million toward public education during your time in office. 19% raises for teachers. That was something else you mentioned today in your farewell speech. But as you know, staffing shortages, student engagement, all of that continues to be a major problem across the country in the public school realm. And of course, then you have President-elect Donald Trump, who continues to threaten and propose to scrap the Department of Education. So, your work toward public education and all of that you've put into it, talk about how you've sort of built a wall or attempted to build a wall around that to hold up against what's to come with these threats and the problems facing public education.
Public schools are the key to our future success. I talk to a lot of CEOs and try to get them to come to North Carolina, and I try to talk them into coming to rural North Carolina. They don't ask me what our corporate tax rate is. They ask me, are your people educated and trained enough to perform the jobs that we create? Public schools are our answer. More than 80% of our children go to public schools, and we need to invest in education from cradle to career. Look, we pushed the legislature further than they would have gone over the first few years of my governorship with teacher salaries. But over the last few years, they have fallen behind. And North Carolina is falling behind in our support for public schools. And what's worse, they are taking money out of the public schools and giving it to wealthier people through private school vouchers. And at the end of the day, that's going to hurt our public schools and to hurt our economy. I think one of the biggest challenges that Governor-elect Stein will have is working to pull together the coalitions of people who will support public education. We've already started that. They're already talking with their legislators about the fact that, you get good schools when you have a great teacher in every classroom and a great principal in every school. And what we have to do is to pay them more and treat them like the professionals they are. That's why I declared this year, 2024, the year of public schools in North Carolina. So many good things there are happening, and we cannot fall for this false narrative that's being painted by right-wingers and for-profit schools that our public schools are failing. They are not. They need to be improved, and we need to invest. But I believe that the future can be bright if we pull together the people who will let their legislators know that public education is so important to our future.
A few more quick ones, Governor, and you just touched on it. You talked today about the importance of common ground with Republicans in North Carolina. I'm curious, does Governor-elect Stein face a different challenge going forward than what you've faced during your time in the governor's mansion there? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have been able to find some significant common ground with Republican legislators. It just doesn't really get as much attention because we've agreed. Our economic development, they've given us performance-based incentives that we can use to attract businesses to North Carolina. That's been positive, and we worked hand in glove with them. We came together on Medicaid expansion. We came together on clean energy legislation that's going to require our power companies to get to carbon zero by 2050. We've worked together on making sure we deploy these federal funds to connect all of our homes and businesses to high-speed internet access. So there are ways that you can work with the other party. In fact, I think the people of North Carolina expect us to work with the other party. But because of extreme partisan gerrymandering, so many deep red districts and so many deep blue districts, it's harder to find consensus in the General Assembly. And just like I have, he's going to be faced with a lot of these issues going forward. And you got to think about the fact that it is so important to try to find the common ground, but also to stand up for your values, stand up for what you believe in. And with Donald Trump coming in as president, you got to work with him when you can. Like we've got to try to work with him to get funding for Western North Carolina to make sure that Western North Carolina can fully recover. But you have to stand up to him when you have to. And I think that governors across the country are going to be faced with that dilemma and that choice that you have to make issue by issue. I have confidence that Governor-elect Stein will do the right things and will help continue the progress we've made, but also blaze his own trails as well.
And a couple more, Governor. You're finishing up your 8-year tenure as governor of North Carolina. So what now? Where does that leave North Carolina on the national stage from a federal legislative standpoint? We've got 10 Republican congressmen and women on Capitol Hill who are Republicans, compared to 4 Democrats. We've got President-elect Trump headed back to the White House. We've got Senators Tom Tillis and Ted Budd on Capitol Hill as well. So from a federal standpoint, how do you help North Carolina and those in North Carolina, Democrat or Republican, going forward, to make sure that you create that foothold nationally over the next 4 to 6 years? How do you help with that?
Well, first, I think most everyday people don't look at party that much. I mean, they want their roads paved. They want their kids to get a good education. They want their parents and grandparents to be taken care of. What we need to do is to make sure we are following those goals that they tell us. And I think at the end of the day, political success will follow. Uh, I know that North Carolina is doing well right now. We're the 3rd fastest growing state in the country. We're a place where people want to be. We have a tremendous challenge right now getting Western North Carolina back on its feet. But I know already that Western North Carolina businesses are up and running, and we're trying to send as many people their way. On the federal level, we're just going to have to continue to work to make sure that government is responsive. I'm concerned about a new Donald Trump term. I do believe, though, that our republic can stand. We have to continue to make sure that we have fair elections and that those results are respected. I believe that we can do that. I'm optimistic. I'm always a prisoner of hope. And I look forward to working with anybody who is willing to work toward my mission of having a North Carolina where people are better educated and healthier with more money in their pockets.
And I have to ask, 2026, on what we just talked about, any plans you just want to tell me, just me, exclusively?
What I'm going to do is run through the tape here as governor. A lot of challenges still left, but then I'm going to take a couple of months with my family and to make some decisions about what I do next. I think everything is on the table for me. I want to continue to make a difference, but I just need some time to think about it. I've been in public service for quite a while, and it'll be good to spend some time with my family and figure it all out. Hey, I get to drive now. I haven't been driving for 8 years. So I look forward to that. My wife doesn't look forward to it, but it's going to be an interesting adventure anyway for us.
I got to ask, just a short time ago, last question, your farewell speech to fellow North Carolinians. What emotions does that word farewell evoke for you?
Well, first, I'm not going anywhere. I love North Carolina. This is where I was born. This is where I will die at the end of the day. This is a state that I care about deeply. And to have had the opportunity to serve as governor, to lead the state that I love so much, I have been deeply grateful, humbled, challenged, but valued every single day. And I think we made a difference at the end of the day. And I'm proud of the work that we have done and look forward to the future.
Governor Cooper, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck, sir.